child prodigies. They're sometimes dismissed by skeptics as merely having above-average natural gifts honed through relentless, maybe ruthless parental pressure and hours spent practicing. And yet, in some rare cases, very young children exhibit amazing gifts that seem to express something more, some divine touch, perhaps. So, which is it? Here's John Berman with our report.
Shut your eyes for a second. That music could be coming from a maestro. Now squint, and that trick shot from a seasoned pool hall hustler. And that painting from an established master. But it turns out this mini Mozart, mini Minnesota Fats, and mini Monet have a combined age, of 20. There's a word for that. Prodigy.
How good are you at the piano?
Well, I'm okay.
Just okay?
I love it.
9-year-old Emily Bear is better than okay. Okay doesn't get you to Carnegie Hall, so good her concert was filmed by German TV. Okay doesn't get you this.
One of my favorite things is when I played for the president.
Of the United States?
Yeah.
The President of the United States.
He was really nice.
Emily has been playing since she was just 18 months old.
It was here, I guess kids still fiddle, but her fiddling didn't sound like a kid. We were getting our kitchen painted and the painters were like, who's playing piano? And then she'd waddle in her diaper.
They put her in lessons at age 5 and now, well, now she's playing all over the world and composing too.
Who's your favorite composer?
I like Bach and all the melodies that he does.
Like
I
what?
think they're really pretty.
Can you just play a Bach melody?
Well, yeah.
And while she's playing, Keith Odell is sinking nearly everything.
There you go. Keith, how old are you now? 3 years old. What do you like to play?
Pool.
Are you a good pool player?
Mm-hmm.
When he was like 16 months to 18 months, he used to sit and watch me play pool all day with his Cheerios and his high chair, and he just picked up a cue and started pocketing balls at 18 months.
He picked up a pool cue and started playing?
Just started playing pool.
Who's the best in the world?
Me.
Okay, maybe not yet, but he can do all kinds of trick shots that would blow your mind.
Do you come up with new shots on your own?
Yeah.
What makes you think of the new shots?
When Daddy's not watching me, I will play pool.
He's got sponsors, he's a huge hit on the internet, not to mention TV.
How good do you think he is?
I mean, usually we're pretty laid back about it, but there's stuff he's doing that people who are 30 years old can't do. I mean, he's incredible.
Keith makes it look easy. Like a simple landscape for Kieran Williamson.
Yeah, I think it is really easy.
8-year-old Kieran, who lives in Holt, England, got a drawing pad from his parents a couple years ago. The simple sketching soon turned almost supernatural.
It's very difficult to appreciate that it's coming from, you know, from Kieran, because he's normal in every other way, but what he produces is just, you know, breathtaking. It's amazing.
His work is the buzz of Britain. 33 paintings in his last collection sold in 27 minutes, making more than $230,000. He has taken some lessons, but if you're looking to build your own child prodigy, take a class in Prodigy 101, our parents have some thoughts. Where does the ability come from?
Well, I'd really like to be able to say he gets his talent from me, but we don't know where the talent comes from.
Emily's music.
To a certain extent, you think she was born with a gift.
I absolutely 100% do.
Keith's table work.
Why do you think he's so good? I mean, do you think he was just born that way?
Definitely a natural talent.
There are no fears that she's just doing this for you?
Oh God, no.
She would like to do more
Yes.
performing, and we're kind of slowing things down and trying to keep it balanced.
Writer Alyssa Court, who was a published author at age 7, says balance is the key.
What's really important is to have it come as much from the kid as possible and to have that element of flow, because they'll be able to take that quality over into their adult lives.
What's the most days you've taken off in a row from piano?
2. But I love doing it. It's not like I'm forced to do it.
But there is clear parental involvement. Keith and his dad are together constantly.
What do you say when you're playing pool normally?
I love you, Dad.
And the parenting isn't easy.
It's more challenging than you think. I think when most people look at it from the outside, they think, well, that would be great if my child had this special ability. But it puts you in a position where you have to make a lot of decisions that you never thought you would ever have to make. And it does complicate your life.
And in the end, all these parents of remarkable kids want them to be normal kids and normal people.
What does a prodigy become? Does a prodigy become a genius later, or do they just become a successful person? Even being a successful person is a kind of letdown often, because they've been really remarkable when they were young. There were also people who had this amazing set of skills that they then were able to carry over into adulthood.
What do you want him to be when he grows up?
Whatever he wants to do. Whatever he wants to do.
Kieran's future? Well, painting is only a part of it. He wants to be
A really good artist and a professional footballer.
And Emily? Well, her air hockey isn't quite as good as her music.
I play tenacious defense.
Their gifts are a huge part of their lives now. But what about the future?
It's completely Kieran's choice whether he paints or not. We hope, you know, for his sake that he doesn't lose it completely.
Whatever would make her happy is what we would want to do. And so if she wanted to take a break or wanted to stop, we would be all for it.
For the time being, these amazing kids are amazing kids. It's something no one can ever take away. One thing is certain, we can't all be prodigies.
Teach me to play something. I can play that. I can't do that.
I'm John Berman for Nightline in Rockford, Illinois.
The surprise for the Williamson family happened on last summer's vacation when Kieran, who was just turning 6, asked for something different to play with.
Kieran, I think, was inspired by the countryside, the landscapes, and he asked us to buy him some blank paper.
He began to sketch and then to paint. He's been at it ever since.
I saw the boat off the internet.
Off the internet?
Yeah.
Spurred by the internet and art books and the postcard pretty outdoor studio that's all around him in Norfolk on England's east coast, Kieran Williamson painted this and this. And he learned some technique in a local watercolor class before he turned 7 this month.
I was the youngest in the class. Everyone else were grown-ups.
How did you manage that?
Didn't think about them.
And now when he's not at the Xbox, his mother says, he's at his paint box.
Kieran in particular will get up at 6 o'clock, maybe a little bit before, and we're often woken up with the chinking of the jam jar, and we know he's painting.
In fact, the whole country knows. For his hometown summer festival, Kieran's work is the featured attraction at a local gallery.
We've come all the way from Northamptonshire to see this.
What do most people say when they see your paintings? What have you been hearing most from people?
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Really good.
Did it make you proud?
Yeah.
Yeah. The English landscape here has been an inspiration to artists for more than 200 years. Part of Norfolk's fame comes from painters who've celebrated its coastline and its countryside. In a place that's produced a distinguished tradition, Kieran's talent is just developing.
He could be great. Yes, of course he could.
He's working at it. The hardest part, he says, is getting the shading right, the balance of light and dark.
How do you figure that you're going to get better at that?
Practice a lot.
Y equals e to the sine of x. A natural logarithm of y equals cosine x e to the e sine x.
I carried Einstein's theory of relativity in my back pocket for about a year and a half. This when I was 30, 35, and just read it over and over again and just couldn't grasp it. When did you?
Let's see, when did that click for me? About the time I was 10?
How many grades did you skip?
7.
You have a photographic memory?
Yep.
My gosh, what is that like?
You can see anything in front of you, like a math equation or pi.
They say that Stephen Hawking can think in 3 dimensions.
I believe so, but I can think in 4 and 5.
But draw a cat.
A cat? You want me to do a cat?
Yeah, see? Can't do it, can you, kid? You know much about Thomas Jefferson? Jefferson had a mind like yours. He could write in 2 different languages, and he could also write backwards. Can you do that?
Yeah, let's think.
Where are you going to end up?
I want to write a textbook so that it makes some of the higher level math a bit easier. I want to be a professor at some university making the higher math easier. I want to do research in the field of astrophysics.
A baby, how old was he when he was taking the cereal? Do we have the picture of the cereal box? When he was taking the cereal and spilling it all over the floor, how old there?
There is about 14 months.
14 months. And when he could start to communicate, he told you what he was trying to do. What did he say?
He said he was doing the volume of the boxes. He made equations. He was making his own equations. When he was about 3 years old, we were buying a gift for a lady in a little toy store near our house. And I was in a hurry. I was a busy mom. I was like, come along, Jacob, let's get this gift picked out. He stood in front of a music box and opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. And then as I was checking out, walked over to like a roll-out piano and just began playing Beethoven.
He was diagnosed at what age with Asperger's?
Just short of 2.
Just sort of 2. Why did you take him to the doctor?
He stopped talking. He went from babbling like a regular toddler, speaking like a regular toddler, saying I love you to his mom and dad, and he completely quit.
Okay. Saying I love you to mom and dad and also saying I'm looking for the volume.
Volume of a box.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. But then he stopped talking, and so you freaked out a little bit and went to the doctor, and the doctor said what?
Mrs. Barnett, your son has autism.
And what did that mean to you?
At the time, it just meant there was no hope. I talked to every doctor I could find. I talked to every therapist I could find. We don't know if he's going to talk again. We think he will always be in special ed.
But you knew the whole time that he was in there, right?
Absolutely.
And did you have any clue that he was functioning at a higher, not this level, but a higher level?
Yes, because of who he was before he stopped talking.
Okay, yeah, the volume of the cereal box might have set me off, and the piano thing, too. The message that you were receiving now from doctors and everybody else, teachers and everything else, was, well, look, his handwriting isn't real good. But you were saying, no, but look what he's writing, right? And so what is the message that you have, before we watch him in action here for a second, what is the message that you have for other families that might be exactly like you?
When you're given an overwhelming diagnosis, do not give up. When children with autism have scattered skills, and you have these skills down low on the bottom, their handwriting, tying your shoes, being coordinated on a bicycle, look for the scattered skills that are up high. Look for the math and the history, and spend an equal amount of time doing those. And also, let your child be a child. Let your child play, go fishing with them, do normal childhood experiences with your child, and then always let your child do what they love.
Child prodigies have long been a source of great fascination. We wonder, how can so much talent reside in such a young body, so much genius? In a moment, you'll meet Jake, a 13-year-old math and science prodigy who's confident he may one day challenge some of the established theories of physics. The source of that talent and that confidence comes from our most remarkable organ, the one we understand least, the brain. What is it about Jake Barnett that had him taking college courses at age 8 and getting A's, and by 12, doing paid scientific research? And today, at age 13, an honors college sophomore lecturing the crowd at his university science symposium.
And do any of you guys want my resume at all?
The untied shoelaces reveal either your average teenager or the first telltale signs of the absent-minded professor, or both.
Let's look at the system of points.
Surrounded by researchers twice his age, Jake is presenting his summer physics research project on PT symmetric lattice systems.
This has implications in fiber optics, electromagnetic signals, anything that requires like a light going through a cable. Got it?
Every number or math problem I ever hear, I have permanently remembered.
You just never forget. They never,
never
slip
forget.
out the back door of your brain.
No.
Is it fun for you to do it? I mean, do you get a kick out of it?
Yeah.
For Jake, fun is reciting from memory the infinite series of numbers known as pi.
3.141592653589793238462643383279502.
Jake memorized more than 200 of pi's numbers in an afternoon.
9749445923078.
And he did it just to test himself.
You want me to go backwards from there?
Well, sure.
32397985356295141.3.
Bravo. He's not just parroting a textbook. He understands and analyzes the logic of higher mathematics. He can visualize and solve complex problems by using what he calls the fourth dimension. Just exactly what is the fourth dimension?
It's hard to describe in terms of the typical 3 because it's tangent to all the other ones. I'd be able to describe it if I had like a whiteboard and like 30 minutes to describe it. It takes a while. It's the fourth dimension. What do you expect?
The numbers appear to him as shapes that he says just build on one another.
So this, for example, is 3 cubed or 27. And then if I want to do 54, I just stack another one onto it.
He says his mind is constantly buzzing with new physics problems and theories. When he runs out of wall space, he moves on to windows. Remembering things so precisely, does that ever become a burden to you?
No, not at all.
No sense of overload?
I remember math and numbers. I don't remember other things. For example, if someone asks me where something is in the house, I tell them I don't know.
The oldest of 4 kids, Jake lives with his family in the suburbs of Indianapolis.
These are my periodic table. It's got all my elements.
He used the money he made from his summer research project, $3,200, to turn his bedroom into a science lab.
Copernicus was the most recently named element.
For as long as he can remember, he's been fascinated by the mysteries of space.
Saturn is my favorite planet, not due to the rings, but due to some of its moons.
Any ambition to be an astronaut?
Not an astronaut. That's like too dangerous. I'm going to be the guy controlling the astronauts. If anyone's an astronaut, it's going to be my brother.
All work and only occasional play does not make Jake a dull boy. What do you do for fun?
When it isn't anything academic?
No, I mean beyond the academics.
Does looking up space articles online count? Pi a cubed divided.
He has a full scholarship at the joint Indiana University-Purdue campus in Indianapolis, where he is an honors student in math and physics. He may not be the tallest student on campus, but is surely among the brightest. He regularly gets the highest grades in his classes.
What happens if you have C sub n, where it's proportional to n?
Jake's been auditing classes here since the ripe old age of 8, when it became obvious to his parents that 3rd grade was not going to be enough for him. What did your fellow students make of you?
Everyone was thinking that Mom was taking the class and she couldn't find a babysitter.
The students thought I was the student.
His parents, Christine and Michael Barnett, expected their son would quietly listen and learn. But even they were shocked when Jake jumped right into scientific discussions.
The professor would ask questions and Jacob was answering them. And then he took the final at the end and got an A on it. And suddenly the people at the university took notice of that and eventually invited him to attend the university.
It's pretty shocking when an 8-year-old aces a university astronomy course. Weren't you impressed?
I guess I was impressed. I was just doing what I like to do.
No one could have predicted that Jake would even make it to college. Just before his 2nd birthday, he began to regress, stopped speaking and making eye contact. After consulting with several doctors, the diagnosis was autism.
We went through speech therapy, physical therapy, developmental therapy, occupational therapy. A therapist came to the home.
He was going further and further from our world into a world of his own. And I really was just baffled at how we were going to get him back out of that world.
And how did you get him back out of that world?
We realized that Jacob was not happy unless he was doing something he loved.
Which even as a 3-year-old was math and science. His parents say the more he focused on the subjects he loved, the more he began to communicate.
You could just see him just relax. You could just see him feel like, thank goodness we're not working on something that I can't do today.
And how long did it take for him to, as you say, come back?
By the time he was kindergarten age, 5, 6, he was still behind as far as speaking with others and socializing with others. But he was also light years ahead of everybody else. He was coming home asking us, when am I going to learn something at school today? I want to learn algebra.
It was trying to keep Jake challenged that led to a kind of double life. Elementary school by day and sitting in on college courses in the evening. By 5th grade, he dropped out of public school, and just to demonstrate that he was ready for college, he taught himself all of high school math in just 2 weeks. He was 10 years old.
That was the most determined thing I've ever seen anybody do. He had to sit in a calculus class to prove to the university that he could sit still. And Jacob was like, I'm going to participate in that class discussion. So if I need to learn Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry, trig, that's what I'm going to do. And he took a stack of books and he sat down and he just
Went and taught himself all of it in 2 weeks.
Not only that, he finished the entire state of Indiana curriculum for grades 6 to 12 in little over a year. The Barnetts, who've started a center for autistic kids called Jacob's Place, say that many of Jake's symptoms of autism have disappeared.
There are certain traits that are still there, and if you really, really knew what you were looking for, you could dig them out. But otherwise, you know, that I got a 10-year-old kid at that point in time that just happens to be doing next level work and no one knew anything different.
Your parents told us that you're very proud of your autism.
That, I believe, is the reason why I am in college and I am so successful. It is the rise as to my love for math and science and astronomy, and it's the reason why I care. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten this far.
Joanne Ruthseth, a psychology professor at Ohio State, has been studying child prodigies for the last 13 years. She believes there's a link between autism and prodigies.
We know that child prodigies are having autistic relatives at a very high clip, and some of them have autism themselves.
She believes that what sets a prodigy with autism apart from other children with the condition is the prodigy's genes have been modified so that the genius emerges without many of the severe disabilities associated with autism.
In the general population of autism, 10% will have an autistic savant skill where they're exceptional at something. And they've only got that piece displaying itself.
She says for prodigies, be it in math, music, or art, the key to the extraordinary talent is extraordinary memory.
They all share this incredible memory, each and every one of them.
In Jake's case, he's 13 years old. What's remarkable is not just this memory, but his vocabulary is so adult.
Of course, they speak like adults. They've picked up so much information along the way so early in their life and continue to do so.
She says a talent like Jake's is about 1 in 10 million.
Jake's extraordinary. He's picking up information at a rate that none of us could even imagine doing it.
She's tested Jake and says he literally aces every intelligence and memory test.
Imagine if everything you saw you could remember. Every word you heard, you could recall that. And then you could integrate that information and come up with new ideas. That's what he's doing.
Kentucky, New Mexico,
A demonstration.
Nevada,
Dr. Rusatz named 28
Florida,
states in random order.
Pennsylvania, Wisconsin,
No surprise, he
North
was able to
Dakota,
do it forwards
Washington,
and backwards in sequence with
Missouri,
ease. And when asked again 3 months later, you still remember them
Yes, yes, I do.
in the same order?
Mm-hmm. And I can still go backwards.
And backwards? Give me 5 or 10.
Kentucky, New Mexico, Nevada, Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Washington, Missouri, Texas, Utah, Colorado.
While some may dismiss Jake's talent as simply a gift of remarkable memory, his physics professor says the boy is much more than a human calculator. Is it just great memory or something else?
It is definitely something else. The great memory does help him, of course, because once he reads something, he remembers it. But what is more important is that he has the drive to learn more. He definitely stands out as a powerhouse of raw talent.
Professor Yogesh Joglekar oversaw Jake's research project. Their work was published in Physical Review A. Jake is the youngest person to be published in that prestigious physics journal.
The whole randomness thing, that's like completely against all of physics.
He plans to continue his research, building on Einstein's theory of relativity. His parents say he takes on these challenges with an easy grace.
He has his own little tight-knit group of friends that he hangs out with, he studies with, he leads study groups. I have college-age girls calling the house wanting to know if Jake is available to study during finals. When I go to campus with him, it's like I'm walking around with Elvis.
So far, the king seems to keep his celebrity status in check, more or less.
Practically everyone knows who I am.
Are you a star on this campus?
Big man on campus. I just figured it out.
But the little big man says he enjoys nothing more than using his talent to help fellow classmates see the beauty he sees in the numbers.
Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome. I kind of want to try to use that to end the whole math phobia thing.
Because so many people like me and millions of others are scared of math, are scared of science, correct? Why is that so funny? You almost can't understand how anyone could be.
Exactly, yeah.
Jake is writing a book to help us overcome our fear of math, and he's on track to graduate at age 14, when he hopes to begin his PhD studies.
was a Rhodes Scholar in Oxford University, and your parents sent me here to interview you to see if you qualified to be a Rhodes Scholar in Oxford University.
I'm Allison Baker, and my cousin Joey Baker is the smartest kid in Napa, Idaho. He's so smart. He even knows algebra. And I know way more algebra. I know geology and all that stuff. And every test I've taken, I've passed them. And they say I'm so good, they don't even know what grade I'm supposed to be because I'm so good.
I am 11 years old. I graduated high school when I was 5, and I took my PhDs when I was 6, and I got math, social studies, science, history, art, and just about anything like that you can think of. I got sent here to see if you can qualify to be a Rhodes Scholar. And so, I passed every test that you could think of. I'm so good at everything that they don't even know what grade I'm in. I bet I'm past college. Well, that's really good. I think that they might want you if you're really that smart as you say you are. Here's one thing you should do. You should probably make me take a quiz. All right, well, you want to stand up and walk? Sure, you don't have to do that. In European history, what years were the 30-year war?
Start or finish?
Start.
1618.
Correct. Let's talk American history. What dollar bills, if any, have no U.S. presidents on them?
The $10 and the $100 bill.
Correct. What was the 46th U.S. state?
Oklahoma.
Correct. Which state is nicknamed the Yellow Hammer State?
Alabama.
Correct. The chickadee is the state bird for?
Maine.
Correct. What is a Pepsis Formosa?
It is the tarantula hawk. The state is Central New Mexico.
Correct. Of the top 100 brightest stars visible from Earth, which is the brightest?
Alpha Canis Majoris, so that's Sirius, 8.6 light years.
Correct. Which planets in our solar system have no moons?
Mercury and Venus.
Correct. Of the 88 known constellations, which one is nicknamed as a princess?
Andromeda.
Correct. The bird of paradise?
Apis.
Correct. Which star ranks 8th in brightness?
Prodigy, 11.4 light years.
Correct. How long does it take for our sun's light to reach Earth?
Light in a vacuum, sun's light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second, and with an average distance of 150 million kilometers, you get about 500 seconds or 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
I think they might want you, my friend. Well, I think you're Rhodes Scholar material. I think Oxford would really like to have you. I'll send all your paperwork in and try to get you qualified, and I'm sure we'll keep in touch sometime.
It would be an honor to be in Oxford, because I hear it's the most richest school.
It is. It's a really great experience.
Hello, my name is Dr. Allison. I'm here to brief you on your daughter's MRI and CAT scan. Allison has a special gene code that is very rare. In fact, a medical neurological team led by Dr. Rudolph Tansey of the Massachusetts General Hospital is studying the gene code. The pituitary gland produces a protein called beta-amyloid, which can be built up on the brain neutron as a plaque, which leads to Alzheimer's. Allison's gland produces the opposite effect. She has the ability to remember every second in her life. She has photographic memory, short-term and long-term. She has instant recall and possibly ESP.
Extrasensory perception?
Yes. Further tests confirmed her behavior. May I have your permission to report our result to Dr. Tandy's team in Boston? You have a very special girl here.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to ask you random questions and random subjects that just pop into my mind. You ready?
Okay.
Who was Stan Wadey?
A Cherokee general, the only Native American general for the South in the Civil War.
Let's talk math. What is 4/3 times pi times R3?
It's the formula for the volume of a sphere.
What is base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2?
It is the formula for the area of a trapezoid.
What do you know about the Statue of Liberty?
It was designed by Frederick Bartholdi and was a gift from France dedicated on October 28, 1896 by President Grover Cleveland.
How did the statue get to America?
It was brought over on 10 ships headed by the flagship Is Here, captained by Desaulnay. The flotilla arrived in New York Harbor on June 17, 1885.
How long is the statue's nose?
4 foot 6 inches or 1.48 meters.
How much does the statue weigh?
With or without the pedestal?
Without.
450,000 pounds or 204 1.1 metric tons.
Where is the is here now?
On June 23, 1917, she was on a voyage from Barry to Oregon, Marseille, when a German U-boat submarine, the U-39, fired a torpedo and sunk is here 70 miles west of Cape Bartow. There were no casualties, and the survivors were picked up an hour and a half later after the attack by the French fishing trawler Aslan Aeropasto. Dr. May, there is something on my mind. An asteroid called the AG-5 was discovered by Mount Lemmel astronomers in Tucson, Arizona in January 2011. It's on a collision course with Earth and will hit us in 2040. There is a scientific team from the United Nations in Vienna, Austria, led by Dr. DeShaza, trying to figure out how to stop it. As of right now, no one knows what to do. No one has any answer.
Are there any other doomsday dangers heading our way that we can't solve?
Yes, many.
Well, my plane is leaving soon. We need to talk again.
My pleasure.
This is the story of a little girl who was born with a gift. And she opened that gift early.
This comes out to me. This comes out.
Where does it come from?
I don't know. Probably in my heart.
You could call her a piano prodigy, though the P word is never used in the Bear home.
This is all unknown territory for all of us. I've heard about kids like this. I never thought I'd have one.
Her siblings, 12-year-old Benji and 7-year-old Lauren, are also talented musicians.
My brother plays electric and acoustic guitar. My sister plays the harp and piano, and I only play the piano. But I would like to play the flute.
Emily was discovered 4 years ago by her grandmothers. One of them a concert pianist who's made a career of teaching musically gifted children, like Emily.
I just love music. It's my passion.
4 years ago, Emily's mom and dad took a trip and left Grandma in charge. She heard someone playing piano and thought it was the eldest child.
I was overwhelmed. It was the baby, who was 2 years old and 1 month, playing a C scale with 3 fingers.
Play your scale, Emmy.
Grandma Merle immediately contacted the prestigious Juilliard School of Music in New York.
He said, there's only one person in the country. His name is Emilio Del Rosario. He teaches at the Music Institute of Chicago.
With instruction from Del Rosario and many generous mentors, including Mary Sauer, the Chicago Symphony's principal keyboardist, Emily has blossomed. They're practicing Mozart's Concerto No. 23 that Emily will play next March with the Rockford Symphony Orchestra.
What she does in her music, in all the styles that she plays in, she is speaking directly from inside of her, which is why jazz is so comfortable for her.
Yet her favorite song is not jazz or Mozart, but one she wrote herself for Mr. D, her loving piano teacher, who is now ill. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Composer. I like Mozart because he's kind of like me and I'm kind of like him.
Like her playing, Emily's composing pours from her heart. It's her patience with fumble-fingered adults like me she has to work on. With keyboard chops that would be the envy of most adults, it's easy to forget Emily is still a child.
But this one is my favorite. Do you know why?
Why?
I got it at the White House.
What is your hope for her?
To be happy. Seriously, to have good values, to be at peace in her heart, to be a really good grown-up.
But until then, the one thing Emily wants you to know...
Actually, I'm just a normal kid that plays piano. And most, I like inspiring kids.
Oh.
The brilliant new star, a boy of 14.
I just want to always express
how beautiful the music is, how beautiful the composer wrote the music, and not how beautifully I can play it or how fast I can play it. I mean, it's all interpretation, but I feel that the interpretation is actually to make the music more beautiful.
He had his first piano lesson at 5. His first concert at 9. Then last year, a dream come true, a performance at New York's hallowed Carnegie Hall.
It's an incredible experience because you think of all the people, all the musicians, all the artists that have performed there, and I think that every single person has left a little piece of their soul behind. So you think of all the ghosts that are floating around within the hall, and to put it in a very nice way. And it's amazing just to be playing there, just to experience that. Really disliked being called a prodigy or a genius because I feel that it doesn't really describe me. I feel that I've been very lucky with the people that I've met and with the people that have been helping me. And that I've also worked very hard for what I've got, and possibly I do have talent, depending on what your definition of it is. But really, I don't think that being called a child prodigy and thinking of, you know, where will he go, what will happen, it's not really a good thing for the child.
He certainly doesn't brag about his achievements. On the contrary, the kid hides his light under a bushel. Instead of proudly showcasing his many awards, he has them stashed away in the basement. He's not even sure where.
Here it is.
Why does he hide them?
My music is really important to me, and I don't feel it's very important to actually display my different plaques and certificates and medals.
Jan's school is Western Canada High, a regular public school in Calgary. But he's not exactly your regular schoolboy. For starters, he has skipped 3 grades. Lynn Rule is the vice principal.
It initially started with a principal of his elementary school recognizing he was truly gifted and contacting our school. So it was never a parent push. It was, it's never been a school. We're not pushing him here. The parents agreed. There was no need or desire for him to finish his high school by the time he was 13 or 14. He will probably finish when he's 15.
Between school, concerts, practicing, studying, and traveling, Jan is one busy guy. What do you do for fun? Do you get time for fun?
I do. I swim. I love to read. I love to watch movies with my parents as well. Love to go for walks. Love flying.
Next to music, flying is Jan's passion. His bedroom is filled with books about planes. He loves everything about flying, even what most of us hate, such as waiting in airports or being strapped for hours in plane seats. But fame does have its privileges, privileges the average kid can only dream of, like getting a private joyride over San Francisco. A lot of 14-year-olds, I don't know, they hang out at malls, they play video games, hang out with friends. Do you get to do these things?
Well, I don't really hang out at malls. I actually don't like doing those things, so I don't miss much because I wouldn't enjoy doing it anyways, no matter if I was being a normal kid or, you know, normal kid in quotes or not. I would probably enjoy reading way more than going and hanging out with friends.
The seduction can be that the life appears to be so exciting that you get complacent, or that he falls into a type of caricature of himself. So I think it's imperative that he has great challenges always, and always is pursuing new adventures in his thinking and his way of doing things.
It's not like suddenly one day you wake up and think, oh, I'm going to become a pianist, that's my dream, and it's sort of something that evolves maybe over a year, over 2 years, and it comes, and eventually you notice, you realize that you really love what you're doing.
Someone else also loves what Jan's doing. Conductor Boris Brott, who has studied and played Beethoven all his life, finds the tone of Jan's playing extraordinary. So how far can the boy go?
Well, I've often said that the potential there certainly is there to be a talent in the mold of a Gould. Now, I'm not suggesting that he plays like Gould or that he will be a great Bach interpreter. I love the way he plays Mozart. I love the way he plays Beethoven. I love the way he plays Chopin. I mean, he has a sense of being able to move from composer to composer and to literally don their cloak, to wear their jacket, as it were. And that's, I mean, that is the art of an interpreter, to really become that composer's alter ego, as if they were alive today.
What world do you still have to conquer?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. There's always, even in the worlds that I so-called conquered, I haven't really explored all the possibilities that there are, and there's a lot. You can find different harmonies, different melodies, and you can never learn a piece to its fullest. I don't think even the composer knew to the end, exactly. I don't think the composer knew his piece as well. Sometimes there's some pianists that have spent a lot of time working on those pieces.
Jan's parents only have one ambition for their son.
We want him to stay happy. And we would like him to be able to choose in life what he really would like to do in his life and what would make him happy.
And what if a career in music doesn't work out?
Well, I think I'd be a little bit disappointed, but I would still love the music, and I would have the option of becoming a pilot.
Lisiecki, a young man determined, one way or another, to soar. At 14, he has already soared higher than any plane could ever take him. With his music, he has been able to reach out and touch our hearts and soothe our souls.
Magnus Carlsen is the best in the world. He's a 21-year-old Norwegian, reigns supreme in a sport played by 500 million people. It's chess. Many don't think of it as a sport because nobody moves. But chess masters will tell you it can be more brutal than boxing. That's because at the championship level, the objective is not only to win, but to demolish your opponent. That can take hours. The best players need extraordinary endurance, so most of them are young. Magnus is the youngest #1 ever. And no one can explain to you how he does what he does. It seems to come from another world, which is why he's become known as the Mozart of chess. Just look at what he's doing. Competing against 10 players simultaneously. That in itself is not extraordinary, But Magnus cannot see the boards. He's facing the other way. So he has to keep track of the positions of 320 pieces blind. And the number of possible moves, infinite. Magnus comes out on top. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Do you have any idea how extraordinary this looks to...
No, it's one of the amazing things in chess that you don't really need a board. You can just keep.
But it transcends chess. I mean, I just can't fathom what you've just done. It's just it seems like it's supernatural. Last December, we caught up with him at the London Chess Classic. He arrives with his constant companion, his father. Magnus will play against 8 other top-ranked players, but he is the star, as celebrated in this world as Eli Manning is in his.
The world #1 player from Norway, Magnus Carlsen.
Today Magnus is playing America's #1, Hikaru Nakamura. The match will last 4 hours and there will be no breaks. Magnus will go on a stroll now and then, but his mind won't be going anywhere. He says he's concentrating not only on this game, but on other games played by other masters at other times, which he might want to draw on now. 10,000 of them. We gave him a test.
It was played right here in London, and Simpsons on the Strand, in 1859. I don't know the month or day.
You got it wrong.
Not 59?
51.
Wow.
You see, your memory isn't superb in everything.
It's not what it used to be.
Chess players are pretty poker-faced, but occasionally Magnus will flash the smile of someone who knows it's all over but the handshake, while Nakamura dives deeper into doom. Magnus was playing brilliantly, and he knew it. Is there anything in life more satisfying than that feeling when you're playing brilliantly?
I don't know, but it's really, up there.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
The spectators seem as mesmerized as the competitors. They're all chess players, of course. If they weren't, it would be like watching paint dry. Worldwide, 100,000 are watching on their computers. The suspense keeps building until endgame, by which time it's cutthroat. But do you enjoy it when you see your opponent squirm?
Yes, I do. I enjoy it when I see my opponent, really suffering when he knows that I've outsmarted him. If I lose just one game, then usually, I just want to really get revenge.
This is war, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
For 50 years, chess was war. It was a battleground in the Cold War with the Russians, who were dominant. But then an American came along. His name was Bobby Fischer. In 1972, he took on the Russian champion Boris Spassky, and he won. It was an international spectacle, and the enthusiasm has not waned.
What number is this?
Back in London, just down the corridor from where Magnus is playing, 500 novices are learning how to master kings and queens. Do you ever play any grown-ups?
Yes. Yep, I do play grown-ups. In fact, I'm getting to the hang of playing grown-ups.
Who's your favorite chess player?
Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer?
And I like Magnus Carlsen.
You like Magnus? Chess is now routinely taught in schools all over the world, including the United States. In some countries, it's compulsory. Chess can be taught, but not genius. Magnus seemed like a normal enough kid growing up outside Oslo. But wait a minute. When he was 5, he could name almost all the countries in the world, and their capitals, and their populations. Magnus's father, Henrik, didn't think that was terribly unusual.
He did have a good memory and the ability to concentrate for hours at the time on a specific topic, and he seemed to be interested in a lot of things, new things all the time. But I thought that was normal.
What got him into chess? Sibling rivalry. His older sister started to play, so he wanted to beat her, which he did, quickly. Then he started winning tournaments. Before long, he became a celebrity, one of the first Norwegians to excel in a sport that did not involve snow. People lined up in shopping malls to play him. When he won, Magnus said it was just a game, no big deal. He couldn't understand why people were making such a fuss.
Why does all people want to talk with little me, you know?
Magnus's parents took him and his sisters out of school for a year, rented out their house, sold their car. It was part holiday, mostly chess. They went to Reykjavik, Iceland, which is where Magnus took a leap into legend, when he was matched against Garry Kasparov, the Russian, considered by many to be the greatest ever. And how did Magnus prepare? By reading up. Kasparov kept the 13-year-old kid waiting for half an hour, and when he did arrive, he didn't even say hello. It was speed chess, the Formula One of the sport, a race against the clock. Kasparov started slow. Magnus started getting bored.
I sat there for a few seconds, and then I thought to myself, you know what, I don't know why he's thinking, but I know what my response is going to be anyway, so I'll just walk off and watch the other games.
Kasparov had never played anyone so young, but he did not exude confidence or happiness, and he did not win. Magnus played him to a draw. It was a sensation. Kasparov left quickly. No nice game, kid. Nothing. How did Magnus react? Guess. He thought he had blown it.
When I actually got the winning position, I had little time. I was nervous, and I couldn't finish him off.
Why were you nervous?
I was playing Kasparov. I was intimidated.
You were intimidated by playing the world champion when you were already 13 years old?
Yeah, go figure.
It warranted a celebration, of course, and Magnus got to choose.
Yes, I went with my family and had some ice cream at McDonald's.
By the time he was 19, the boy with the ice cream had become #1 in the world.
He has a very deep understanding of chess.
Frederick Friedel's company, ChessBase, publishes the world's most popular chess program. Is this an indication of genius?
Of genius and raw talent. Now, Magnus has still hasn't reached his peak. He hasn't really worked yet.
I've heard him described as lazy, which I find quite extraordinary.
I think that's an impolite term, but it's probably appropriate.
Except when he's not. Magnus plays soccer whenever he can break away from the board. He's got a mean backhand, and he's moonlighting as a model. There's never been much money in chess, but Magnus is changing that. Sponsors are lining up to endorse him. He's making about $1.5 million a year. But it's a solitary life. Magnus is on the road 200 days a year now. Between matches, he is alone in his hotel room, getting ready for tomorrow's game. He works out almost every day, knows he can't concentrate, for it's often 7 hours unless he's in shape. Magnus says he wouldn't be able to tolerate this life if it weren't for his father, who's always there for him. When you travel with Magnus, what's your role?
I'm a servant. And a chess fan.
You enjoy the games?
Yes.
And so, he says, does Magnus. Boy, when you look at him, when I look at him, enjoyment is not the word that comes to mind.
It should. Maybe you have to compare it to a writer or a painter. I mean, probably if you see them at work, they're not smiling or having an easy time. They're exploiting their mind to the utmost, and the same with the chess players.
But that level of concentration is not danger-free. A fair number of grandmasters have gone mad, which is what happened to Bobby Fischer in his later years.
This was not an arrest.
This was a kidnapping. It was all cooked up.
Do you ever think about that?
Yes, I do. You know, when I was watching the recent film about Bobby Fischer, I was thinking, you know, is this going to be me in a few years? I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, it made me think a little bit that, you know, I have to be aware of this at least.
People have described you as the Mozart of chess. How do you react to that?
Yeah, maybe, but was Mozart ever asked how he does this? I would be very impressed if he had a good answer to that, because I think what he would say is that it just comes natural to me. It's what I do.
Which is what you say.
Yeah.
It's what he does for fun, too, at the Oslo Chess Club where he started. He's playing a Norwegian grandmaster here. It's called bullet chess, and Magnus has a handicap. His opponent is given 3 minutes to make his moves. Magnus has 1. It's just a friendly match, but Magnus always hates to lose, so he doesn't.
My name is Pranav Veera. April 6, 2009 is a Monday. 7 times 7 equals 49. October 29, 2009 is a Thursday. 7 times 11, 77. August 26, 2008 is a Tuesday. 7 times 14, 98. Barack Obama and his wife was both born on a Friday. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, ZYXW, VUTS, RQPO, and Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. I'm 6 years old.
Welcome Daniel Tammett, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
All right. I've established my ignorance on the topic, so help us if you can.
Sure.
First of all, how would one describe you?
Okay, I'm a savant.
And what does that mean, strictly speaking?
Okay, well, there are different types of savant. I'm a prodigious savant.
Prodigious?
Prodigious. It means somebody with exceptional mental abilities, exceptional even in perhaps people without any problems. I mean, I had epilepsy as a small child, and we believe that maybe the seizures kick something in the brain.
I see. So without this seizure, you might not have had these abilities. Is that what you're saying? I see.
Yes.
And this is a good thing for you to be a savant, is that correct?
Yes. I mean, it's
does it have any drawbacks?
It has lots of drawbacks.
What would be some of the drawbacks, some of the minuses for this?
Well, I was recently diagnosed with Asperger's as well, which is a high-functioning form of autism. So what scientists who have studied me believe is that it's the epilepsy and the autism combined which has caused these abilities that I have.
Well, that's interesting that the two negative occurrences have actually produced this rare and rarefied positive.
Absolutely.
Yes. And what are the symptoms that manifest themselves for Asperger's?
In terms of Asperger's, it's inability to socialize very easily, a really strong and narrow interest in particular areas. I've always loved numbers, and I've always loved words and language as well, and these are the two areas where I seem to have real ability to flourish and do well.
But at the expense of social interaction?
Yes. I mean, it's getting better.
But you seem like you're doing just fine sitting here talking to me.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I mean, thank you. You're too kind, thank you. No, it's taken a long time. I'm 26 now, and I had the seizures when I was, I think, 4. So,
and it did not recur, just the one episode?
There were several seizures. I mean, the first was very severe. I almost died.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
But as you grew older, you seemed to grow out of them? Is that more or less how you would characterize it?
Yes, that's right.
All right, so let's dwell now on what this has left you with, and I just don't understand it. What can you do that everybody else can't do?
Okay, well, last year on March 14th, which is Pi Day in America.
Pi Day?
Yes, Pi Day.
I love pie.
I love pi too, but it's not your type of pi. It's a mathematical number, 3.14.
I didn't realize it was a Pi Day.
Yeah.
So on Pi Day, what happens?
So on Pi Day, well, Pi Day is 314, and those are the first numbers in the number pi,
that's right.
3.14.
Yes, third month and whatever else.
14th day, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the third month, 14th day, right.
That's right. So I recited pi, which is an irrational number, which means you can't express it as a fraction. It goes on forever and ever. I recited it from memory to over 22,500 places.
Wow.
And it took me 5 hours, and we had lots of invigilators to check that I made no mistakes. And it only took me a few weeks to learn number.
Ooh.
And it was really good because we raised lots of money for epilepsy charities in the UK. And I really did show that being a savant and having these advantages and disadvantages shouldn't hold you back.
Now, go back to the recitation of pi. It took you, you say, 5 hours to recite?
Yeah.
And how many digits roughly were in that number?
So I recited pi to 22,514 decimal places. It took me 5 hours and 9 minutes.
Right.
And the hardest part of it was actually the physical side, because it was like running a marathon in your head, if you can imagine that. It's a just constant flow of numbers. And I had some water, and I had some bananas and chocolate to keep my energy levels up.
I like bananas.
Yeah.
Another person, who, not being a savant, could they have not committed this to memory?
Yes, they can,
They could have,
and people have done that, but it's taken them years, and usually they have to have several attempts, because it's a big thing to do. And
do you still remember it now, even though this happened a month ago?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, that's the other thing, when I'm learning numbers. So what I'm doing is I'm visualizing numbers. It's not, when you look at a number, when you look at, say, 43, you just see the number 4 and 3, like most people do. But when I'm looking at different numbers, you know, whatever number it is, I'm seeing colours and shapes and textures. It's something called synesthesia, because my brain is working in such a way that I'm looking and also experiencing colour. So it's two senses combined. So I haven't seen this show before, I have to say, coming from London, no. And when I'm sitting with you now and I'm watching you and I'm seeing you and you're a very handsome man, I have to say.
Well, let me just say, you got my number.
But I have to say, you know, you look like the number 117.
117?
You look like 117.
Thank you very much.
117. It's a handsome number. It's tall. It's a lanky number. A little bit wobbly.
A little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm full of Crisco. Now, what's the thing about birthdays? Is this like a party trick, or is this something that demonstrates your savant-ism or power or whatever it is?
I mean, some savants.
My birthday is, guess my birthday. Is that how it works? How does it work? I tell you what my birthday is.
Tell me what your birthday is.
April 12th,
yeah.
1947. April 12th, 1947.
Okay. Okay, so you were born on a Saturday. And, do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, and you turn 65 in 2012, and that will be on a Thursday. Okay, so you retire on a Thursday.
Wow. How about that? Are you able to make some money with what you do? I mean, I'm not being silly about it, but are you? This is a rarefied. It's a gift, isn't it?
Sure.
It's rarefied. Only a handful of people do this.
Yeah, I mean there are something like 25 savants in the world.
And the people are studying you. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
There are scientists in America, in California, and also in places like Oxford and Cambridge in the UK who are studying me, because what they're looking for is to see whether or not anyone, you know, can do this, whether or not it's learn numbers easier, speak another language.
What's your birthday?
My birthday is January 31st, 1979. You got a 1 in 7 shot.
Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday.
One of 9 children brought up in East London, Daniel claims that he's been able to do massive calculations since he was only 4.
I had quite a severe seizure as a very small child. A series of seizures and a diagnosis of epilepsy was made.
His childhood fits seem to have changed something in his brain.
It's really from that time that I started to see pictures in my mind, images started to form.
Intuitively, Daniel also began to perceive the patterns within numbers. Cases like this are extremely rare, yet there are others who have also suffered injury to the brain, only to emerge with a startling and often similar.
15-year-old Nathan Puska is a special needs child with autism that attends the Brenham State Supported Living Center. He's been at the center since February, and upon his arrival, Arthur Curry, the school's music teacher, heard about Nathan's musical ability. He wasn't ready for what happened next. Nathan is gifted, to say the least, in his music ability. All he has to do is simply hear a song to play it. Nathan's ability was so amazing that Curry went to Brenham High's music teacher, Julia Hansen, to nurture his talent.
He came in, he saw the grand piano, he sat down, he started playing for us, and so everything changed from that moment.
When the Louisville Free Public Library started a contest among kids to design computer programs, one child came out on top. 12-year-old Marc Tarman won the contest at the Bon Air branch, but as 32 Alive's Carolyn C. reports, computers aren't his only interest.
Not many kids asked to go to summer school, but 12-year-old Marc Tarman signed up for an engineering class on his own. Marc is one of 33 students who are taking a summer class called Increase. The program is sponsored by private industry to get minority students interested in engineering. Once Marc leaves summer school, he heads home, and most days he spends 2 to 5 hours at the computer. Marc is fascinated by the computer. He started designing programs when he was 11. Now he's already written 40 original programs.
It might be tough for somebody else, but it's tough for me, but I usually think them out before I start to write them, and then they're not that tough. It's like learning some exotic language that you have no idea about.
Marc taught himself how to type and hopes to start with high-resolution graphics soon.
I know there's other people like me, but I don't know who they are, and I don't know what they can do or anything. Just know I'm here.
Carolyn C., 32 Alive News.
Very good.
Oh, good. He doesn't know where to look. Which camera?
It's good. Is that going to go in? Yeah.
know what? We were going to do this show, and we all said at the beginning it's kind of scary, and all we want to do is find that one moment, that one gem, that one star from a place we've never looked before in America's Got Talent, and you know what? This is the moment. You're the star.
Wow. Piers, are you sure you're not 30?
Yeah.
You're not just very small, right? You are 10 years old. 10 years old.
Exactly.
That is, I'm going to tell you, that is one of the most extraordinary performances I've ever seen on America's Got Talent. You've got it all. You've got the whole thing. You've got a lovely smile, beautiful dress, and then you start to sing, and everyone in this audience probably felt the way that I did. We all felt goosebumps. That moment when you think, I know what's going to happen here. We're going to wake up tomorrow, and America is going to be going crazy for a little girl who just sang like an angel. Absolutely incredible performance.
Sharon.
Yeah, Jackie, when you first started to sing, I thought, is this for real? I can't believe that from this tiny body, this huge, mature voice that you have. It is absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. And I've never seen anything like it. And that's why...
How do you feel, Jackie?
I feel so amazed and so happy that I feel like I'm just about to burst in tears. But tears of happiness. It's such a delight for us that you were on the show tonight. Thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is Asher. I'm 6 years old. I've been singing for 14 months.